Welcome
to the joy of coding.
Hello, and welcome to episode 395 of The Joy of Coding. My name is Mike Conley. It's so good to have you here. It's been a little while, eh? It's been a couple of weeks. Last episode was, according to my notes, February 19th, so it's almost been a month. It's been exactly 3 weeks since the last stream. I was traveling. Some things came up where I couldn't stream for a while, but I'm back, and let's get to it. I missed y'all. Let's do it. I'm gonna switch to my screen. I'm also gonna throw on some lo-fi beats. I feel like having some lo-fi beats in the background. I've got this web app called Upbeat.io that apparently uses it's royalty free, so hopefully this doesn't get me in trouble with the YouTube cops. So here we go. Got some just a little gentle music back there. All right. Let me know if that's distracting, if you'd rather hear something else. All right, well, what are we working on today? Well, first of all, it's been a while. Some changes have landed in Nightly that I thought were kind of interesting that I thought I'd shout out. First of all, I just realized that I need to update my Nightly, but that would interrupt the music, so I'm not going to do that. But we've got a couple things. One is that if you go into settings and labs, first of all, you can enable JPEG XL. I think that's the thing that people are very excited about doing, adding support for this. There was a lot of hype. Well, anyway, there's a toggle here inside of Labs where you can enable JPEG XL support. Apparently, that's interesting. The next one is passwords in the sidebar. If you have the new sidebar enabled, you can click on this button, and then it won't be available automatically. It will be available. You have to go to this like gear menu and choose here to enable passwords in the sidebar, and then you get this key item, and then you can click on that and get a big list of passwords. I'm not going to show you my passwords. I mean, they don't display, but I don't want you to see all of like the different domains and stuff, but that will allow you to kind of get your list of passwords to show up in the sidebar, if that's helpful for you. What else? Oh, tab groups. There have been some tab groups updates that are kind of interesting. I won't lie, I haven't completely found a whole lot of use of tab groups yet. I know lots of people have. I haven't found a way of sort of working it into my workflow and made it part of my organization. But I wanted to kind of demonstrate some stuff. Let's go to some websites here. Here's the news. Let's see. Here, let's read about Sum 41's 10 best songs ranked. And let's find a wiki page on Sum 41. Let's go to Wikipedia. Sum 41. This is some punk band from Canada, from Ajax, Ontario. They're very famous. We're gonna create one more. Let's see. Sum 41 fan page. Oh, it's just the Sum 41 website. Okay, let's go here. Wow. I think this Choose Heaven, Choose Hell is very interesting. Yeah, I think this band, they're on their like retirement tour. They're kind of like a Canadian institution. Anyways, let's go ahead and create a tab group here. And look, it automatically suggested to me a name for this tab group, Music Sum 41. That was using like a local, a very sort of small local model that the browser downloaded. Nothing got sent to Mozilla about what, or any other like model provider, any AI provider about what tabs I was looking at. This all happened locally, and it suggested a name. I'm gonna change that to just be Sum 41, which I think is kind of neat. The other thing is that it can suggest more tabs to add to the group. So for example, if I add another tab, let's see, let's go to this popular mechanics one, just to have a false just like a thing to compare against. And then let's go find some news about Sum 41. Let's go to the Sum 41 Facebook page. Sum 41 profile for Sum 41. Okay, so this is their Facebook page. And now if I go here, can I suggest more tabs for the group? It's gonna look, and hey, it suggests that I should, hey, maybe add the Sum 41 one to this group. It notably, it did not suggest to add the Popular Mechanics one. So it can tell kind of the difference. It was just using some very simple little local model to do that comparison, but that's kind of handy. The other thing that's kind of a big deal is that you can now drag these around. You can drag, this is in nightly, this isn't in release yet, but you can drag your tab groups around. And I believe in tomorrow's nightly, you'll be able to drag them between windows, which is nice. So there you go. And I'm gonna go ahead and close that group. And if you wanted to try, I think there's a pref you have to flip if you want to try that like local model stuff. I think it's called like smart tab groups or tab groups, smart.enabled. I think it's false by default. You can opt in by setting browser tabs groups smart enabled to true. The very first time you do it, it has to download the local model. So let me add a note here. So smart tab groups with local only models examining how the tabs to suggest tab group names and more tabs to add can be enabled with that pref. I think it's off by default. Let's actually check that assumption. Whoops. Yeah, it's off by default right now. Ooh, yeah, and we've got tab groups itself. They are enabled in early beta or earlier. So those are getting close to the point where, you know, people can test them out in the wild, but we're not quite there yet. We're coming along. Okay, so that's that. Was there anything else to mention that I know of recent features? I think that's it. That's kind of all. I know that there's some work going on the thing that people have really been asking for, which is the ability to expand the sidebar on hover for like tabs, vertical tabs. That is being worked on right now. And I think it's a matter mainly right now of making it smooth and performant. You know, we have fairly high standards for the UI in our like internal benchmarking for what can be shipped for performance and accessibility and there are and localization. There's lots of things to consider, and so a lot of attention is being paid now to this thing that people are asking for, which is the ability to expand the sidebar and hover. I think this is broken right now. Like I've got this toggle enabled. Hover. Is there one for? Yeah, sidebar expand on hover is off by default. I have it flipped to true. I'm pretty sure this is broken. I'm gonna see what it's like though. I'm gonna close this and I'm gonna do this. So it only kind of works right now. It's pretty glitchy. So obviously not ready, and that's okay. We're still working on it. And you know, we don't ship stuff before it's ready. All right. So a question came in. Question from the forum, as I think I've told you multitudes of times, is that there's a rate this episode form attached to every episode. And whenever I see questions, that's a great way to let me know what you think of each episode. Each one has their own form. And when I see a change to one, I check, there's like a little section in the forum where you can ask me a question. And if I have the answers, I can try and answer them. So here's a question that came in. So apparently, yeah, I think towards the beginning of last episode, I answered this question about some of the chatbot stuff that various groups at Mozilla have been working on, and this is like a follow-up. You talked about Orbit, and that is a thing that, if you're not sure what I'm talking about, there's orbitbymozilla.com. This is, you know, a thing that you can use, like a language model that you can use for free, that Mozilla gives very sort of strong privacy guarantee. Even though it's happening like on machines in the cloud, we don't make you create an account, and we don't save or train based on the data that comes in. So you talked about Orbit. I have a question about how they plan to make money, as running an LLM on GCP, that's Google Cloud Platform, costs lots of money, and you guys don't have VC money nor the data collection for training. I just want to know the sustainability of this project. This is coming out, I think Orbit's coming out of like some of our research groups. You know, we're putting our feet in the water here because some people are interested in this stuff. Some people want to try it out, and you know, there's so much hype in the space right now, and there's, you know, people charging an arm and a leg just to like try some models. And there's some free ones, but they're like plastered in ads, and they have bad like privacy characteristics, and there's lots out there. They're all kind of repackaged versions of, I think, things that are either available on Hugging Face or, you know, I think oftentimes what people are paying for isn't the models themselves, which there are a lot of great models out there, but the processing speed, like the GPUs in the cloud. So anyways, this is just research, and it says beta right here, which means, you know, that's just a way that I think software companies, Mozilla included, will use to say like, hey, this could change. This could change. We could pivot. This isn't a product that, you know, may be what this looks like right now in a year and a half or 2 years or 5 years or 2 months. Like we could learn a lot from how people are talking to us about it. Like we're, I think, soliciting feedback probably on Connect. There's how will the service improve? They're benchmarking the cost as it's being used, and they're seeing the like the rates of traffic and stuff. So we're learning in that way. But the goal isn't really to make money with this right now. The goal is to learn. The goal is to learn. And you know, maybe this is the future of computing, or maybe this is a dead end. More likely it's somewhere in between those two extremes. And who's to say about the sustainability of the project? You know, like, this is not, it should be obvious by this sort of like beta thing that this could go away at any moment, or it could change at any moment. So who knows? I don't have a great answer for you beyond that. You'll see this kind of thing. I think Google kind of made this approach famous. I think Gmail was in beta famously for like years and years after it really entered the mainstream. I seem to recall Gmail having the sort of like the beta sticker on it, and that kind of gives them, it allows them to sort of communicate early to their audience, like, hey, stuff might change. We're still figuring stuff out here. We're still figuring things out. Because once you have an established product, like Firefox, you know, that people sort of expect and want to stay working in the same way forever, you run the risk of upsetting those people when you want to make some improvements or changes, add new features, etc. And so if you can start your relationship right away by saying like, hey, look, this thing, you're free to try it, go for it, why don't you come check it out, but it could change on you. We're still learning. This is a thing that we're learning about. That's kind of what's going on here. And like, that's not to say that Firefox doesn't it changes all the time. You know, like we're getting features like tab groups. I think it's be really confusing to call Firefox release Firefox beta, because Firefox beta actually has a very specific a specific meaning. Client software, I think beta has a completely different meaning. Web software having like a beta sticker on it means something completely different. Client software that you download and run on your computer, when it's called the beta, it's not that, hey, this could change at any moment. Beta means like, hey, this could crash on you. This could be like, this is maybe not fully baked. There are some things here that you know, we're hoping you can help us test. On web applications, I find it's the other way around. It's different. It's more what I was saying before, where it's like a beta, the sticker on a web application when it says beta is, yeah, this thing might change on you. Ocker says, it seems that Google will be forced to sell Chrome. Will Mozilla try to buy it? I am no lawyer. I'm no lawyer. I don't know. Who's to say? I'm not going to speculate. I'm not going to speculate. Exciting times in the browser space. Exciting times. Okay, let's get to work. So, customizable widgets. I think it's been a while since we've done this. Customizable UI documentation. Let's check out that branch and rebase it onto Bookmark Central and see if we have any cleanup to do. I have not touched this since the last time I streamed, so that's almost a month ago. It's about 3 weeks ago. We're gonna get rebase onto Bookmark Central. This music, I don't know if you can still hear it. Oh, and there's like, this thing's like dipping down. How do I fix that? There. It's making me feel like I'm playing some kind of cozy game. Ah, we have a merge conflict. Let us sort that out. Exciting, a merge conflict. So, we got a new method added. That's what happened. So we're going to go ahead and keep this part. And we have to add documentation for handle new browser window. So I have to learn what that does. The browser window, that is what? What? It's probably just been opened. Called when DOM content loaded fires. Okay. Oh, I can actually, because that's exposed over here, I can say C customizable UI handle new browser window. And that's it. That's easy. And I'll go ahead and add that. Get rebase, continue. All right, we did it. All right. Is this new? Why don't these have comments? This might be new. Get customization target. No, that's from 2018. How come these are not marked up? All right. Well, let's add these. Looks like I forgot some. Oh, these are for customizable UI. Yeah, I don't know why these were never marked up. But let's go ahead and add some missing ones. Gets the finds and returns the internal customization target for some DOM element that may forward, that may for some elements this will be a element itself, for others it will be some child element of a element, and that takes a element, returns an element, or I think null, if I remember correctly. In fact, I can just move this. I just realized. C customizable UI get customization target takes element or null, returns element or null. There we go. I think I also did, yeah. Oh no. Look at these. Customizable UI. I gotta fix some of these. Okay, hold up. I'm gonna stash. Customizable UI handle browser window. And customizable UI. See, customizable UI. There we go. All right, so let's go ahead. Just fold that in. Awker says, it would be great if whoever buys it reverts Manifest v3. Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something? Again, exciting times in the browser space. We're laughing. We are laughing. Okay. So there's one that I wanted to add, and the other one was get test only internal prop. A rather this is a test only method that allows callers tests to violate encapsulation and gain access to some internal state internal to this module. If not running in test automation, this will always return null. So it'll either return null or any. The string representation of the internal property to retrieve. And this is similar. And gain and to write to some internal state to this module. This will always just immediately return without making any changes. Prop string and then value is any. The string representation of the internal property to change. Only some properties are supported. See the method code. Value. The value to set the property to does not return anything. do. Browser component customizable UI. And we're gonna create a new commit. We're gonna say git commit bug 1917913. Add JS doc documentation for a few more customizable UI things. Sam, you can take a look at those. Okay. So now we're in pretty decent shape, I think. If I lint browser commands customizable UI, I think it'll be happy with it, right? Yeah. So we have successfully added JS doc documentation to all of these things, except for there's one left, and that's customizable widgets, which we might do today. We might start this today. But before I do that, I wanted to take an opportunity to kind of catch up on some recent changes in the tree. One of the things we've been kind of glancing up against as we've been working on this documentation project is the Okra says, did you notice any performance improvements when using Git? No. If anything, I think I'm slower with Git. The overhead of the, you know, some sort of the clumsiness of the user experience is for the most part completely obliterating any performance gains. And that's after having used Git for a while now. Yeah, I find Git's user interface just abhorrent. I am looking at something called Jujitsu. No, VCS. VCS. Right. Some of you may have heard of this already, but this is a thing that someone at Google, I think, is working on. I don't know if it's official. It's just on the side of their desk, but it's like it's a version control system that can use Git as its backend. So it offers an alternative and what I think of as a probably a more sensible and better front end to Git effectively whenever you use Git as a backend. It doesn't have to use Git as a backend. It also has its own backend, but it can use Git as a backend, which means that if you have a Git repository that you're working with that maybe you'd rather have a better interface to, this tool might be for you. I'm still I haven't switched over to fully using this yet. Maybe in a couple of weeks. I've been kind of tinkering with it in my spare time, just kind of learning the ropes. And because it's like a little bit of a departure. It takes a lot of lessons, like a lot of the good lessons from Mercurial, but it also brings in some things from, I think there's a version control tool called PyJoule that I think it takes some lessons from as well. Yeah. And Sapling is another one, and something called Darks, and yeah, it blends a lot of good ideas from different version control tools, and so I'm kind of like building myself up to potentially using this. But I'm not alone. Like there are people at Mozilla who are really, especially like old Mercurial diehards, who look at this and go like, "Oh, thank goodness, the timing could not be better." You know, I wonder how much of it is coincidence, but it's like, yeah, the timing could not be better, and it's written in Rust, so it's pretty fast. And it looks like there are tests. Ooh, look at all these tests. Whee! Anyway, let's keep going. Yeah. So what I was talking about was the using TypeScript, not the language, but the compiler to do type checking, strong sort of like build time or you know, commit time type checking of code that is annotated using JSDoc annotations, which TypeScript can interpret. And a bunch of bugs have closed recently. Like there is work actively underway to try and make all of this easier to work with. And some of them are like, these are all new. I have not looked at these. And so I want to kind of like quickly go over and see what they were like. So right now it says improved TypeScript library targeting of ES versions. That's a dependency that was filed. Not too interested. Use setup helper in tools TS mock commands. I don't know what that means. What does that mean? The whole maybe setup method was borrowed from setup helper. Configure how to. Okay, so this looks like just infrastructure. Okay, add TypeScript definitions for Glean pings. That's helpful. So we don't have to explain what those are to other modules. We just kind of get these for free. Glean pings. That's nice. Good job, Mark. Unable to reference IDL CE-nums via TypeScript. So it sounds like that's been fixed. Figure out how to make TypeScript work with classes that implement IDL interfaces with constants. So, like what? Is there a test? Read-only test. Read-only child extends NSI supports. Child should throw. We have NSI autocomplete result interface for which the definition starts off like this. Oh, and it has these constants in the interface. And it failed. Okay, that's interesting. So it sounds like the Surge team is really interested in using this stuff in their code, which is cool. And that's kind of like part of the drive behind this. Support ability to type check only files directly owned by a specific TS config. That's very interesting. To be able to roll out type checking in stages, module by module or project by project, it's important to be able to limit which files we're working on and which files we don't want type checked. Unfortunately, TypeScript is greedy and crawls all files referenced from the root set of files recursively. This is fairly easy to achieve using a plugin, but TS officially only supports plugins when running inside an editor. To actually enable plugins from Mock, we would need something like TS Patch. So, what does this do? So TS Patch to enable using plugins from the CL command line interface, reference real XPC shell content utils, and drop substitution. Okay. So here we would export this class, and then here we we import this thing. Oh, that's interesting. We say exactly what we export, or what we expect here as a return value. Plugins, checkroot.js. All this packaged gunk. TypeScript transfer to automatically enable TS check for root.js files. Only those directly referenced from the tsconfig JSON include option. Okay. So does this block? Did this block anyone? Blocks these things. Oh. Turn on incremental TypeScript builds. So this is from a day ago. This is really interesting. So you have incremental. I don't know what that means. But this is closed. This got closed earlier today. That's exciting. And then in here we say exactly, I guess, which ones we expect to be to include. You bring in Rust, bind gen, catch all, redirect to all other modules. Okay. And this also got closed earlier today. So that's neat. So they've got their type check going, their TS config stuff going right now, and that's very exciting. So for us, I wonder, does any of that change our experiment? So we had this experiment, customizable UI TSC, which if we look at it, it added a TS config and updated some code and all these things. I think this also got fixed. There was one that had to do with app constants, and I have a feeling that got fixed somewhere in here. app constants. Yeah, add support for the pre-processed import of app constants. And what they did was they bring it in and they had just a thing describe its structure manually. Okay. This is a little out of date, I think. Because I remember adding an app. February 9th. That's why. I went with handcrafted to capture more specific type information than a tool could. Okay. Alright. Well, I think we can undo this part then, and we can see if any of this stuff works. Let's see. Let's go ahead and rebase onto, wait, where am I? Git log, customizable UI documentation. Get rebase onto customizable UI documentation. And then, oh, man, no, this. Okay, did not like that change to app constants. That's okay. We can probably just remove that change. All right. Git add toolkit modules app constants, and then get rebase. Continue. Getting more comfortable with Git. Yeah, just a little bit, but still not my favorite. Ooh, no, I didn't want this change either. Git reset head diff git checkout toolkit module. Like, that is so clumsy. All of that is very clumsy. And then, oh no, I want to git reset diff git status git restore stage to unstage it. That's what I needed to have done. Okay, and then check it out. And then it should... No! Why is that still in the commit? What is going on here? Git reset. What? I'm trying to, like, undo this part of the commit. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do that. I'm going to check out... I'm just gonna revert the change. I'm gonna here var, yeah, now I'll go at toolkit modules app constants. I'll add that change to revert the change and then amend. Is that what you want? Will that make you happy? Git. What? Why? Did the earlier one change? What? What is the definition of app constants? Oh, no. I had it right before. This is what I want. Right. Toolkit modules app constants git commit amend. Yeah, you absolutely jinxed me, Danny Colon. Here I was showing off all my cool Git skills. All right, now that we've got that, let's build, and then let's run some of this stuff. Let's add that incremental thing that the search team has. That sounds like a good idea. I don't even know what it is, but we can try and find out. Yeah, that's not exactly what I was looking for. I was looking for the more I think it was maybe a dependency of this one. Yeah. Incremental. So what does that mean? TypeScript incremental. It tells TypeScript to save information about the project graph from the last compilation of files stored on disk. This creates a series of TS build info files in the same folder as your compilation output. They're not used by your JavaScript at runtime. It can be safely deleted. You can read more. Okay, so it's like a cache. It's a performance optimization. And what's the kind of files it creates? TS build info. Are we ignoring those? Yes, we ignore those. Okay. So let's go ahead and add incremental true to customizable UI. TS config. We'll say we do want that incremental performance improvement. Under compiler options. Okay. Let's see what happens if I say, oh, it's unhappy. Did I need to do a build with artifact and then mock build? Probably. Is the music annoying people? Let me know if you find it soothing, distracting. I'm curious. Mock TSC. I'm trying to remember what the command is. Or TS? Okay, mock TS. Check. Browser components customizable UI. Not annoying yet, says Okris. Okay. Okay, lots of complaints. And it's really not happy with app constants still. I wonder if I was supposed to do something with, because like we saw that sort of hard-coded app constants thing. This thing, substitutions. Under source tools types index. Declare substitutions as okay, and then is there like an example of this being used? Declare module, Jerry modules, app constants. Let me just supply a single file, customizable. What's one that's not exempt? Oh man, customizable UI, widgets is out, modes out. We could do drag position manager. Okay, so lots of complaints. TSConfig JSON file must be an object. Oh. I guess I had to. It doesn't take a path. I have to, or it doesn't take a file path. I have to pass it a directory, and then that happens. I don't think I fully understand. Found 260 errors. And is that because, like, let's say it's going through in alphabetical order. Is this, where does, No, I don't see app constants in here. I see it here in search widget tracker. Could that be what's going wrong? It's importing it from here and it's very upset. Substitutions for modules that can't be referenced directly. So what do I do if it's not expecting this? That's what I did for something small. I wanted for handcrafted. There's, can I find module app constants? If I tell you that I'll handle it, it's a pretty fair way at least simulating the types. Huh. What if I get rid of search widget tracker for now? Search widget tracker .sys.mjs. So it's really just drag position manager that we're including. Okay. So there are still things. It's mostly complaining about the fact that it doesn't know what a DOM node is. So let's say I replace DOM node with element. Hidden does not exist on type element. Okay, and then Boolean is now assignable to a parameter of type string, trusted type, and it doesn't know what a DOM window is. If I give it just window, it's fine with that. So really the problem is that like there are some special I think we knew this. There are some special extensions on Zool elements. Wait, a style doesn't exist on type element? That can't be right. Document, style sheets, element, style source. HTML element includes element inline CSS style. So should I say it's an HTML element? What would happen then? Nope. What does it think about that? Now it's a completely different set of complaints. Wait, I'm confused. There's a lot of. Okay. On line 100, it's complaining about something on element. A container children expects HTML elements children to be elements and for those to not have the hidden attribute or hidden property. Argument type element is not assignable to parameter of type HTML element. Okay, so the lazy store. Node position store. Like if I say that this is supposed to be an HTML element. Now do you freak out less. So it's resolving a lot of things to element when that is not what they really are. They're more than that. So I think there's a lot of there's more maturing to be done here. That is my TLDR. There's more maturing to be done with this whole workflow. I'm just gonna reset all of these changes to drag position manager. And I'll go ahead and commit this change to our little work in progress branch there. But let's go back to the documentation piece. Okay. So, more to document. The next thing I want to document are those widgets. Hey, here we are. We are with these widgets. Let's get some documentation added. Valid types off. Can I? JS doc, check access off, check param names off. Can I? Taglines off. Require return type off. Param type off. What of these can I remove at this point? I wonder. And why are these here? Let's just get rid of these for a sec. See what we fail when we lint now. Okay, lots of complaints. Oh, not too many. Not too many. I think we can go ahead. I think, you know what? This maybe is an even better use of our time. We're going to get rid of these rules. We're going to get rid of these specialized rules. Oh, wait. Oh, these rules are just for things under here. Huh. Panel UI, which we haven't even worked on yet. The test stuff. Okay, so maybe that's okay. Okay, well then let's not get distracted. Back to customizable widgets. What do we want to document? So we've got, let's examine some of these structures. We have this constant array that we are emitting of objects. These objects are, I think, the definition of a widget when you register them. I think if we look inside of customizable UI, we'll find that there's like, yeah, create widget properties, an ID, a type, a view ID. Yeah, this is an array of customizable UI create widget properties. Type. And can I like refer to? I thought I saw this being done elsewhere in some of these other patches. Constants. getting lost a little bit. Where did I see? Oh, I never added that plugin. I should maybe have done that. Referencing outside modules. That's what would have fixed the probably the app constants thing. Okay, well, let's, jeez. Let's go back to our experiment here for a sec here. Git log, what was it called? Git checkout, customizable UI TSC. Let's go ahead and add this to our plugins as well. Under compiler options. Now, what do you think of mock TS? So now it doesn't complain about, module resolves to an untyped module, which cannot be augmented. Huh. Well, I don't care to look. I think we'll keep letting the search team kind of sand down the rough edges there, and maybe we can draft off some of their fine work after they've had a few more weeks at it. Let's go back to this documentation. Okay. So, yeah, what I wanted to do is to like refer to some of the other modules and some of the other types that we've added. Was it here that I saw it? It was in one of these. No. No. And probably not. No, we'd looked at this before. Okay, so I'll just leave this for now. The array of built-in customizable UI, create widget properties that are registered upon browser start. Registered as widgets upon browser start. Okay, that's it. I don't think we have to document each one of these. Same with these. These are all just sort of like runtime decisions of what gets put on this in the array. So that's all good. And then we have to document this. What's so special about this set attributes? So what we do is we go through the key values in this attrs argument and do any removals if we see that an attribute on the node is not present in any attrs. If the name is shortcut ID, then we continue. If name is label or tooltip text, huh. Missing now, get. It's really just used for each button. It's these, okay. Okay. A helper method to set one to make a node's DOM attributes to synchronize a node's DOM attributes with the properties in a attributes, properties and values in a attrs. If a node has an attribute that is not present in a attrs, then this attribute is removed. There is some if name value of object entries, if not value. Oh, that is not present is falsy in a attrs. This attribute is removed. Some special handling for shortcut ID. Shortcut ID, the attribute shortcut ID is always ignored with this function. For why? I don't know. Let's see if we can find out. Let's try and learn why that would have been. Who did this? This is back in 2014. This is some like Zelda music, like Link waking up, going shopping in Kokiri Village. Shortcut ID. Oh, I see. The attribute is always ignored, is never set on a node. If a attrs includes shortcut ID, the value is never set on a node, but is instead used when setting the label or tooltip text attributes. And how's that done? By referring to the shortcut key element, Zool key element, that the ID of the Zool key element that acts as the shortcut. Was instead used when setting the label or tooltip text attributes to include the shortcut key combo. When to use shortcut ID should refer to the ID Zool key element that acts as the shortcut. Matchers. This is just an object. The element to change the attributes of a key value, a set of key value pairs, where the key is set as the attribute name and the value is set as the attribute value. And there's no return value. Great. Hey, we did it. We documented that thing. This module is done. Gang, we are done. Pretty sure. Yeah, let's go ahead and document that. Or commit that. Bug this. Add JSDoc documentation for customizable widgets.sys.mjs. Sam. All right. Mock lint browser components customizable UI. Let's see. What do you think? Incredible. Oh yeah, Smurf D. Thanks for being here. And yeah, we're in the sort of the 3 week, was it the 2 or 3 week sort of weird time slippage where half the world is like kind of out of joint. Part of the world is out of joint. And oh, RIP everyone who works on calendaring or time zone software. Time change. What a farce. All right, I think that's it. I think that's all I want to do here. I think let's go ahead and commit this. And we're gonna get rid of the leave open. Go ahead and submit. Being in the same time zone as Mike, I do agree with the sentiment of Guru Daylight Savings because I want to get my hour of sleep back. Yeah, I mean, there is that sort of guilty pleasure in the autumn whenever we gain the hour of sleep, but you know, the book's always balanced, gang. The universe the universe giveth, the universe taketh away. The book's always balance. All right, well, that was fun, that bit of documentation. Maybe let's take a pause now on the documentation and do something else. What is there to work on? There's lots of things to work on, but what would be interesting for you to see in the next 15 minutes? Well, we can get our feet wet in an idea that I've got for the 400th episode. Okay, because we've got 5 episodes until then. And today, let's see, calendar, March 2025 calendar. Today is the 12th. So this is episode 395, 96, 97, 98. So April 2nd is 98, and then 99. So around April 16th, unless I take any time off, around April 16th will be the 400th episode. And I thought maybe what we could do, because there hasn't been a whole lot of submission of ideas on things we could do, but one thing I thought might be interesting was to try and port. So we have an interesting situation. I apologize if I've described this situation before. We have a lot of different products called Firefox. We've got Firefox on desktop, on Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. We've got Firefox for Android. We've got Focus for Android, which isn't exactly Firefox, but it does some of the same things. We've got Firefox for iOS, and we've got Focus for iOS. And again, those Focus browsers aren't the same thing as Firefox. They are running Gecko, but they're not Firefox per se, but they share some of the same things. Now, normally, whenever we want to share things between our products, we put them inside of Toolkit. Toolkit is supposed to be where you put the shared stuff. Like, you can put, like when we share things with, say, Thunderbird, shared widgetry and libraries and utilities, that all goes, and like Gecko-ish specific things, that all goes under Toolkit. But we don't have Gecko on iOS. But we still want to share some things with iOS. And sometimes we want to run the shared thing not inside of Gecko on Android, but inside of the Android application environment itself as opposed to Gecko. Yeah, Danny Colin says, yet. Good man. Yes, we don't have Gecko on iOS yet. We may someday. It could happen. It could happen. You know, that would be very exciting. I think that would be the final straw. If we could get Firefox, legitimate Firefox with Gecko working on iOS, then I'm done with Android. I'll probably switch over completely. That's the last thing keeping me on Android. So how do you share things in these different environments? Well, as luck would have it, other people, and this is often the case, before you start trying to tackle a big problem, see if other people have run into it and tried solving it, and maybe even succeeded in solving it, because people have succeeded in solving this at Mozilla. So we have this application services repository, which contains all these bits and pieces that are Rust components. They're written in Rust, but then they are compiled, cross-compiled into different libraries that has bindings for Kotlin, on Android, Swift for iOS, and then on desktop we have a special sort of mechanism for talking to this compiled Rust code from JavaScript and from C++. And so this is a really great place, a great mechanism if you want to share code between the different products. I don't actually know, I've never written one of these before, but I thought maybe this would be a good opportunity for us to learn on the stream for the 400th episode. And maybe between now and then we can do, oh, Danny Colin asks, is it using Unify? Yes. Unify is used, for desktop in particular. That generates the API wrappers for the various languages. And these are all the different components. There's Places, and which is crazy because Places is like a very sophisticated SQLite database. Places, before using this component, product setting telemetry using this component must register a data review following this process. Okay, the general idea is to be like a Rusty desktop Places. So instead of Places equal this, it's more insert DB. The short-term goal is to demonstrate a port of Places, history, insert, unified, complete, something, example, autocomplete result. It's very incomplete. Schema is very poor. So this is like a work in progress and was last updated last week. Okay. So that's being worked on by some sync people. But like other things are definitely being used already, like the remote browser tabs syncing engine. This is used. Wait, not implemented preview, desktop iOS. I know some of this is definitely being used. And this was touched last month. Viaduct, the HTTP request library. Okay, that allows us to make network requests from within these things. And FXA client, that's definitely used, I believe, between all of our different products. Look at it. It's neat. You got all this fun Rust stuff. So I thought maybe we could write some Rust. And what module would we convert? Well, it's not the most sophisticated module, but like I wouldn't want... We should bite off just as much as we can chew. Not too much and not too little. Just enough to stretch ourselves. It's not exactly Hello World, but it's not too far off. So we have this thing called Filter Adult. I thought this might make a decent candidate, mainly because I work on the new tab on desktop, but I also liaise with the people working on new tab, like the home screen on Android and iOS. And one thing we all need to do, because every one of those things has the same feature, which is that as you browse the web, your device, like Firefox itself on the device, will have its history populate and it will calculate what it thinks are your top sites that you visit. We use like a frequency algorithm to figure out like, oh, you tend to go here. And those are those like little squares at the top of the browser. Like if we go Firefox for iOS, we can take a look at a screenshot. Like this is them. These are the top sites right here. And yours, if you have an Android device, you'll see some similar shapes. It's like the same idea. And your sites will obviously be different. They'll be tuned to whatever the sites are that you tend to go to. But one thing we don't want to do, if we can avoid it, is if you happen to have been visiting some adult websites, and you do it a lot, we don't necessarily want those to be displayed as your top sites. Because we don't want to embarrass you. We don't want to like have you open up your Firefox app and it's like your top site is some adult web page and like people can see it and you happen to be sharing broadcasting to your workplace or something. You shouldn't probably be using your work device for any of that stuff. But we want to try and filter that stuff out. So how does it work? How does this filtering work? Well, it's actually a static list. We have a static list of adult web pages. And we have turned that static list into these their domains, their base domains of adult web pages, and then we MD5 hash them. We're not doing MD5 is like an ancient hashing algorithm, but we're not trying to like do any like salting or encryption here. This is just kind of obfuscation, but it's not to obfuscate from the user. It's so that these domains are often we don't want to bundle these adult website domain names in our product, because oftentimes security software is scanning the binaries of things that you're downloading, and if it finds like those domain names in there, you can get flagged as like, oh, there's something sketchy going on here. So we're not doing anything sketchy. We're trying to prevent you from doing something sketchy. So we have to know what these domain names are, but we have to kind of like obfuscate them. So we take the base domains and we MD5 hash them in base64 and code them. And this is this big list. I don't know what these domain names are, but there they are. Man, this is like some creepy music. This is like Confession of a Serial Killer music. Or like this is this is the reveal of the sort of like stereotypical like the murderers like kind of monologuing a little bit. Haven't you heard? I ended the world 15 minutes ago. Yes, while you were here, looking at filteradult.sys.mjs, I simply pulled the lever, and the world has ended. Okay, so this module is very simple. Like, it does the MD5 hashing, which I know Rust knows how to do. Like, there's definitely an MD5 hashing module. And then it exposes this object that has these methods. So we've got filter. You can pass it a list of URL objects, I'm guessing, yeah, there's just URLs or things that have a URL property on them, it looks like. And then it'll filter out ones that happen to include base domains that are in the set. You can just do a simple check on a URL, and then you can add domains or remove domains at runtime just for testing, add or remove. But otherwise, this list is static. So this seemed like a good candidate. So that's what I'm thinking I might do for episode 400. And maybe we can spend the next few episodes kind of like feeling out how we'll go about doing it and kind of doing the sort of the run up to porting this thing. Great time watching the list and the scary music. And we'll see how to do it. Now, how do you even begin? I think there's some documentation that we can look at. The application services page here, maybe there's like documentation. Here, we can start by reading this. Let's spend the next 3 minutes of this episode seeing if we can figure out how to do this stuff. Maybe we should start by cloning the repository. That's always a good start. Because like this code's gonna have to live in here, not in Mozilla Central. That's because not everything Firefoxy lives in Mozilla Central yet. For example, Firefox for iOS is not in Mozilla Central. It's in its own GitHub repository. Okay, so let's clone this. And then we vendor in these libraries. I'm gonna use a different tab. Git clone application services. So we're gonna clone that. Now, does it say anything about building? You clone it, cd into it, submodule init, and then submodule update recursive. Okay, so we're using git submodules for Glean. Okay. So it's gonna go get Glean and then install the system level dependencies. Have Rust. On macOS, I have Xcode. I've got Homebrew. It wants Ninja and Python. I have Python. I think I have Ninja. Okay, I'll go ahead and get Ninja. It wants me to have like brew installed Python, but I'm not super interested in doing funny things with my Python. Which Python? I'm using PyEnv. Hopefully that's got to be enough, right? Install GYP. Okay. So I've got Ninja now. I'm gonna install. You may have to create a symlink. Okay, install GYP. This is scary, but okay. Git clone. Okay. Git clone into. Just do that. And then cd gyp python 3 setup.py install. Great. Add that to my path. Okay, I should probably add that to my bash RC or whatever. Okay, now can I build? run cargo test. Oh, check dependencies and environment variables. This one's a little more nostalgic. Oh, you're right. I copy-pasted the wrong path. You are absolutely right. Thank you. That'll learn me to copy-paste. Let's wait for it to finish downloading Rust. Rust 1.84. Hi, I'm Rust. I got a snake in my boot. Okay. Some necessary environment variables are not set. Add these things to my bash RC. Fine. I'm gonna do this off screen just in case I've got, I don't think I have anything sensitive inside of my bash. Or it should be ZSH at this point. Env. And then what's the other one? So I want to change this, but I want it to be projects. Yeah, okay. And then we reload. CSH env. Okay. So echo NSS dir. All right. Here we go. Let us now try and build. Let's just jump ahead. Or hang on, let's do this command one more time. Let's see if it's happy. Whoa! I don't know what it's... Okay. I can't say that was the most fun blob of text I'd ever seen. All of a sudden, I just saw things show up. This looks more like some building. That's cool. So we're, no module named 6. Do I have to like create a venv? Virtual env. Oh, it want pip 3 install 6. There. How about now? Oh yeah. There you go, Smurf D. We're on the same page. Now I've got 6 installed system-wide. Great. My favorite. What is GYP? Google GYP library. Is that a library? Generate your projects. Meta build system. Looks good. It likes it. Cargo test. Woo! Downloading. That's my network. Okay. And we're building. I think I'll stop here after we're done building and running the tests. If that comes through clean, then next week we can maybe start reading through some of this documentation on how to build this application services library for Filter Adult. npm install everything. Yeah, great. Let me just quickly download the world, which sometimes it feels like I'm doing. Thank goodness Firefox we don't use too much Node stuff, but when we do, and we do the npm stuff, we're not downloading the world. I'm aware of some projects where it's like, holy cow, they download it. The chain of dependencies is just gargantuan. And that freaks me out. All right, here we go. Running tests. Oh, now it's building other stuff. Oh, does it have to build each one of these things? Is it gonna build each library? Unify bind gen. Okay. This all looks great. I see a lot of OKs. Oh, it isn't a joke. There's a package called Everything. I'm worried. Only 5 dependencies. These chunks. I would don't ever install everything. Oh, I failed a test. Is there no CI for this stuff? Looks like there are some tests failing on some of the stuff. 40 passed, 5 failed. Finished in 0.3 seconds. I'm just gonna run it again, see if they're intermittent. I don't have to do as much building each time. Yeah, okay. Well, we can look into what this is all about next week. Hey, thanks for watching episode 395 of The Joy of Coding. Let me know what you thought. Was that interesting? I don't know. Let me know what you thought. I am always paying attention to this form, this Rate This Episode form that you can find at the bottom of the agenda. I'll actually put a link here. You know what? I realized I completely skipped the preamble where I didn't talk about the agenda or anything like that. Oh, whatever. Well, if you watch any prior episode, you'll hear about where to find the agenda. But for now, I'm going to put the link to the form in the chat in case you want to add some data there for me. And I'm going to call it there. I'm going to go ahead and silence our piano. Thanks so much for watching the episode, and we'll hopefully see you next week with episode 396. Have yourselves a great week, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.
The joy of coding.
See ya.